Hello everybody, my name is James Wosochlo, author of the novel Appalachian and Schambach's Tavern. I have a lot of readers asking me about the 18th and 17th century weapons used in the book. A lot of these weapons are not used nowadays, so I'll take a little bit of time to explain that. This here is a throwing tomahawk. Let's see if we can get this to stick. Basically, this was a close combat weapon, also used as a tool for cutting wood. And then, in the novel, Matthias mostly used an axe like this. No, I'm not going to throw it. But this was his main weapon of choice in the book. So it was very formidable, powerful, and definitely would kill somebody when they got hit in the head with it. The other weapon he used in that day is a 50 caliber Hawkins. A lot of people in the late 1800s, this was the mainstay. It's a flint weapon, and during the Civil War, percussion caps came available, but this was used from in the 1600s to the late 1800s, and people still use these to hunt with today, such as I do. I love hunting with this weapon. It's very effective, and I love history, and it reminds me of a lot of history. So I'm going to show you to load this. And the issue with about loading a flintlock is that it takes a little bit of time to load a flintlock rifle. We have a measured powder charge, which we measure off. And back in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, you had to learn to load this weapon in a hurry, especially when you had more than two foe coming at you. A lot of the Native American weapons at that time were also flintlocks, and a normal person probably could reload this and fire 3 shots with just a little over a minute. 50 caliber round ball goes in the top, pressed in. Ramrod sets down the round ball and patch on top of the charge. Then we set the frizzen, put the lock front, add powder inside the frizzen, lock it in there, hammer comes back, now you notice there was a couple little misfires there. That'll happen if the power gets a little damp, but you can see how powerful the weapon was. Sometimes there are misfires. It doesn't go off when you first click it. That's the sport of it with hunting, but when your life depended on it, you got really good at doing it. You can see how powerful a flintlock rifle is. It blew that gallon jug into shreds, and this was a scary, formidable weapon when it came fighting against raiding Native Americans in the French Indian War. Now, like I said, during a close combat, you got one good shot until you can kill one foe, and you might have had 2 or 3 coming on you after you fired this shot. And sometimes you might not have had time to reload. So back in the day, this became a weapon as well, and the colonials used to swing and hit the Indians or other colonials that were fighting with them with this part of the gun. This gave birth to a new weapon of the time, called a gun stock club, which Matthias uses in the book. In the novel, Jacob Gerhardt built the tavern on top of the Hawk Mountain Sanctuary. He was the only survivor of 14 individuals in his family that were all slaughtered, 7 children, 2 adults, and they burned down the house while he was hiding under the bed. He escaped out the window and went to a neighboring farm. The Indians at the time were Delaware, allied to the French, and they were raiding up and down the frontier while the militia, the British militia at that time, was off fighting the French. The Indians in those times were used as pawns in that game of chess. They had promises of getting their land back, so the Delawares allied with the French. The Mohawk were allied to the British, as well as the Mohican. And then Ottawa and Huron were allied to the French. Now this is a gun stock club. If you notice, it is similar in shape to a Hawkins rifle. And the Indians adopted this style, and they put a fixed blade on his here. And this is a formidable close combat weapon. It's very deadly. You can use both sides like this, and then this as a killing weapon. And that is a gun stock club. Matthias uses that to murder one of his victims in the novel.